Welcome to Taste Like Tea, a podcast in which I talk about myself. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. This is actually my second time recording this. I didn't get far. I started my last attempt not knowing what I wanted to do. Like what I wanted to talk about, like usual. It's not big news. It's not, unique in any way. But until I figure out how to do it, until I figure out, I guess I have to plan themed watches up ahead and stuff like that. It's tough though. It's tough to, not guarantee to have time to set up a themed double or triple feature. At least one that could be interesting to me, I guess, maybe. I'm not sure. But I guess until then, I do have, as time passes, I watch at least one film a day, and I have at least 7 new films to talk about. Technically more, since I didn't do an entire what I watched last week. I think I did up to Friday, and then I talked about the double feature the next time after that. So, I guess before I jump into it, it's going to be a what I watched, by the way. I mean, the title of the episode probably says so as well. Anythingbutted@gmail.com is where you can email me for whatever reason that may be. I don't exactly know what you could be emailing me for. Maybe, I don't know, maybe fucking episode ideas. The thing is, I can take movie recommendations, but again, it's not like I'm not gonna take the recommendations. More or less, when will I watch it is the huge question. I have a watch list full of 1,000 films. I watched, what is it on now? I don't even know. Does it tell me on here? 1,490. I just added 50 porn films the other day and a bunch of, I think there's a couple Russian comedies that I came across because I found this actress on Instagram. I'm on Russian Instagram right now, by the way. I don't know exactly how that happened, but when I scroll through shorts, which I unfortunately do now. Are they called shorts or reels on Instagram? It doesn't matter. They're bad. They're bad for you. But I'm getting Russian ones, which are objectively less bad. And I'm loving that. I've been sharing them with people because it's outrageous, man. It's crazy how good the content is there, and I've never fucking seen a single bit of it. And I don't know how I got there. I don't know if it's my recently acquired VPN that I started using, or specifically just the things I happen to interact with on Instagram, which I thought was mostly movie stuff. Yeah, it's just an interesting little accessory to what's going on. But the thing about my watch list is that it's mostly things that I can't remember without them being there. There's some obvious stuff, there's Hacksaw Ridge. There's to me these would be kind of obvious. Red Room 2, Cool as Ice. I would definitely need to remember that. The United States of Insanity, because naturally. It's you can go through my watch list. I'm not gonna read it off. I don't know why I am. It's because I'm scrolling through it. That's why. Yeah, it's mostly fucked up films. That's the thing. And I can't always be watching fucked up films. I don't have a space to do that every day. So basically what I'm getting at, I don't know if I was actually getting at anything, but this is kind of a tame week for me. I already counted. I've done 12 films from Monday through Sunday the last week. What would that be? April 6th through the 12th? Oh, okay, right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the 6th through the 12th. And some of it's just kind of putting things on, because I think this was kind of a, I don't want to say a zero motivation kind of week, but definitely one where I felt that I had no like double features or extremely intense new watches and stuff. Like, this is rewatches, and mostly comedies. We'll get into it though. I'm sorry. I jib jab and I sidestep. Although I declared a couple episodes I've been wanting to jib jab more, so maybe it's your own fault for complaining. Maybe that's just part of the podcast, is me complaining that I jib jab and then don't jib jab and then jib jab about jib jabbing. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't really have much going on outside of the movies. I think that's really why there isn't much to jib jab about other than me complaining about the word jib jab at this point. I watch films, I go to work, and I talk on here. I didn't go to D&D last weekend, so I watched more films. Apparently not as many as the week before, but I also scrolled on my computer a little bit. Nothing too interesting. I figured out how to use the search feature on an application I've been using. I don't really like it that much. I'd much rather just use the browser extension, and it's a little bit more tedious, but it's also more precise, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think there's much else other than that. I think anything but ted@gmail.com is really the only thing I have to add, other than me not going anywhere. So, starting on Monday, the 6th, it was a late watch. We got home late. We started our movie late. On top of that, it was just kind of it was a day. Yeah. So, I didn't really have anything to really... I didn't want to put on something I needed to pay full attention to. And I didn't want to... I guess that's kind of it. I didn't want to pay full attention to it. So I put on Cars. Like I said, it's starting off uneventful, and unfortunately it doesn't really ramp up too much higher. There's some weird ones in there that I'm excited for. Kind of. More or less about the discussion than I am about the films itself. But, yeah, I watch Cars. It's definitively the best role that Owen Wilson has ever taken. It is the only time his voice is worth it. It's the funniest he's ever been. It's the peak of Owen Wilson. And I've unfortunately watched way more Owen Wilson this year than I really wanted to. So, and I found fellow appreciators of my dislike of Owen Wilson. So it makes me even happier, because I've grown up around, I'm married to, and work with Owen Wilson fans. I might have mentioned in the past, I have gotten my partner to kind of shift a little bit, and they kind of don't like Owen Wilson that much anymore. Maybe it's just because I constantly complain about him, and I go, see, he's such a shit. He's such a garbage piece of fucking shit, and this is totally how he talks to his brothers. Like the Darjeeling, whatever the fuck, that Wes Anderson film about the train. That's how he talks to his brothers. I can almost guarantee it. He's never mind. I'm not gonna get too into the way he's portrayed himself in a Wes Anderson film, because that's a whole other thing. I don't even really like Wes Anderson that much. But Cars is it's a Pixar film, right? Probably one of the lowest rated Pixar films. Maybe not now. I think now it's had I don't want to say a renaissance because it was never a bad film, but I'm pretty sure Cars was always kind of on the lower tier of Disney films. Like if you ever ask somebody to rank Pixar films, including me at some point, would put Cars in the bottom half. Just, I think it's because, and it's the same reason I put it on. I think this is me speculating my subconscious thoughts and other words that relate to what I'm talking about, because I totally remember what I'm talking about. But I think Cars is probably the least, it has the least to say, kind of. Maybe that's not it either. Like, I put in my review that, it's a slow, quiet film about slowing down and quieting down. Like, it's like a live in the moment kind of movie. And I think when you put it up against something like a Coco, or actually, is that even Pixar? But like, like something with emotional, like force, you get kind of a conflict of like, is Cars really that good if it's not even, discussing that kind of stuff? But I often say that Cars is my least favorite Pixar film, as I think I already said that. But it's also one of my most watched. My Letterboxd account would not reflect that, I'll admit. I think it's mostly because my partner doesn't love Cars that much, and Ratatouille is better, There's a reason I watch Ratatouille more. And same goes for Coco, but again, I don't think that's Pixar. Is Ratatouille Pixar? I don't even know what's what anymore. When it comes to Disney, it's all just Disney to me now. Like, I don't know if it's me not caring anymore, or if it's me focused on other things, or if it's just actually too much, and I'm just like every other person and just can't figure it out. But Cars is good. It really... I heard someone compare... I don't remember what the YouTube channel is. Maybe I'll start watching them again now that I brought them up in my mind. But Cars has the same plot as like a Michael J. Fox movie, where he plays like a town doctor. And he broke it down. And it's, I'm not going to get into it because it's his connection, and maybe I'll link it if I figure it out by time I upload this. But I don't know what I'm talking about. Cars is good. I like the video game. Probably one of the best Disney movie to video game adaptations. It had solid driving physics. For a while, I preferred it over GTA. I also am a huge I'm a huge hater of GTA. Not in its entirety. I do play them. I enjoy them to an extent, but I've never understood anybody who can play the game as much as GTA 5 has expected us to. It's kind of disgusting when I think about it, but, I try not to. Because GTA people don't bother me since I don't join their lobbies. And that's the only time that they will bother you, because GTA lobbies suck. But Cars, yeah, the Cars video game had a really good physics to its driving. Because I think they tried to incorporate drifting since that was, plot critical. I definitely didn't beat the game. I rented it from Blockbuster. And I remember returning it after I fixed the road. And I got stuck on a big race, but it wasn't the final race. It was still in the Springs. It was still in Carburetor Valley or whatever. I remember it vividly too, because I was pissed. I remember just switching to different cars and realizing the only way to do it is to figure it out. There's no progression past this point until I can just figure out how to win this race. And it was almost like a Mafia 1 kind of struggle, where it was literally and no, I never finished this level on Cars. I have finished Mafia 2. But that's the kind of precision you needed, was the thing from Mafia 2 or Mafia 1, I'm sorry. Mafia 1's racing sequence where you're it's not worth finishing, even attempting to finish the race, if you already fucked up the first turn. Kind of like in Tony Hawk too, so sometimes you accidentally reset the challenge because you instinctively just so fast pause, click, down, yes, retry. Is that ingrained in people's heads, the Tony Hawk retry button? Or is that just some me shit? Was I too exact in my need to do Tony Hawk challenges in games that I refused to finish it if I knew it wasn't perfect, or as best as I can be? It's worth thinking about, honestly. Because I've never forgotten that input. It's sometimes because I played American Wasteland a few months ago or a year ago or something at this point, because of what's that called? It's that Tony Hawk mod that puts every game into one. It's what they were trying to do with Call of Duty, but they're doing it with a license free the American Wasteland engine. They're using that rather than the modern engine, which is kind of what Call of Duty sniped them for. Also, Activision sucks. We're not going to get into that. Yeah, the cars. I'm talking about. I'm talking about video games now. I should talk about video games more. I might, if I get far enough into this episode, because video games totally influenced my watching of one of the things this week, but it was one of the last things, so there's a good chance I'm not going to get to it. So I'm going to move on from Cars. There's not much to say about it. It's a kid's film. It's calming. It's a good background movie. I didn't use my Blu-ray because it scratched to shit, and I have to replace it. I bought it scratched to shit. I riskily paid the $2 Goodwill price in hopes that it wasn't too damaged. But it skips right at the part where they go to the abandoned gas station and they have the flashback of when Route 66 was the hot spot. But yeah, Cars, it's a great film. It's the only thing where I think Owen Wilson being a good guy works, because it's the only time it's true. And even then, he's still a cunt for the first 2/3 of the film. It takes, I don't know, hard work and getting off them phones kind of energy. So then the next day, Tuesday came, and I'm like, I want to watch something on DVD. I know I have Like, there's got to be something here, right? And I open up my entertainment center, which isn't where most of my movies are. That's where the stuff I can't fit on the shelf goes. And actually, I went to the most obscure part of it, and I went to my video game cabinet, where I know there's like a handful of movies stacked there. I reach in there and I pull out Con Air. My partner has a Blockbuster copy of Con Air, with the inventory sticker still on the case, and the disc still marked with its inventory number. So that's pretty cool. Like, right there, that's pretty cool. It's a nothing. It's literally like the most nothing DVD ever. It's what Blockbuster DVDs would be if movie companies had it perfect. Every Blockbuster DVD would probably be as but bare bones as this. It's the same thing with like the original DVD releases of the Transformers. There's just maybe a trailer and maybe a blooper reel at best. Even Con Air didn't get the blooper reel. It just had a trailer. It had the teaser trailer that was shown in theaters, which is kind of cool, I guess. And then I think it just had previews, but you could only watch them through the special features menu. It didn't autoplay. It's shit. It's some old. It's a kind of DVD that makes you go, oh. That's kind of a shame. But Con Air is good. I've seen it before. I know the general gist of the film. But this is probably the first time I've ever, like, watched it. Like, ever put full effort into watching it. So, here goes my ignorance. Here's a perfect example. I've definitely seen it through to its credits. And watching it this time, I didn't even remember that they ever got off the plane. But the second half of the film is almost exclusively off the plane. Like, so that's the level of paying attention I've had for this film in the past. So I caught it on the cables a few times, and my partner obviously has a DVD of it. It's one of their favorite movies, and clearly I just never paid attention to it. So I did, and I mean, even the setup was a surprise to me. Like, what the fuck is Nicolas Cage doing here as a Marine? I thought this was about, convicts. Like, literally, I only know the first half of the second act of the movie. Like, that's kind of the only thing I knew going in, realizing it now. So, Con Air, Nicolas Cage is a Marine, and he accidentally kills a guy by punching him to death, which was news to me. A pretty cool way to get arrested, and surprisingly, not a cool way, or not a way to get respect in prison. I don't know if it's because your deed wasn't good enough, or because they also see you as a trained killing machine that failed to be good enough to restrain himself. It's the classic, like, he only got arrested because technically he did something wrong, but really he was doing something admirable. It just happened to land him in prison. So you got a good guy in prison, and then time passes, something happens. He's almost out, right? And for some reason he's getting, like, transferred on a big ass plane, a prison plane called Jailbird. But they still call it Con Air. It's like, I guess its code name on the radio is Con Air, but the plane itself is called the Jailbird, which I think is a much cooler name. And this could have been called Jailbird, or the Jailbird, or something. Like, so They introduce the most reprehensible people possible. They're like, this guy is a rapist. He collects women to tattoo on his arm, and each tattoo is a rape he's done. And it's just like, what is it, like 6 or 10 people of varying degrees of evil. It's a little cheesy. I like the actors that are introduced. I love Danny Trejo. That bald dude that leads the group, who's like the big child strength. Not Steve Buscemi. The other one, the main bald guy. He looks like a Nazi. Gross. But the setup is cool. The setup's actually my favorite part, because the film, the longer it goes, the more it loses me. Because I was really interested in the Nicolas Cage part, and then I'm like, where the fuck is this going? And then it cuts to prison, and he's like, all right, we're getting out, and I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. I know like the setup ish now, and then I meet the prisoners. I'm like, okay, these are some fucked up people, and the only thing I really know definitively from like other people talking about it with this film is that it's one of those films where it convinces you to sympathize with evil people, which is always interesting to me. So they're setting up these evil characters, and I'm like, great. So you got a handful of people on a plane, handcuffed. There's like a cop that got planted there with a gun, unauthorized. He's part of the DEA for some reason. I don't know why the DEA is involved. Like, sure, there was drugs in the prison. Why is he on the plane? Why is the DEA involved at all in this movie? Like, sure, bring them along with them uncovering the fucking cocaine brick, hiding the secret plans to the plane murder. But what's DEA gonna do on a fucking plane full of convicts with a single little fucking pea shooter pistol that he's hidden in his sock? B, what the fuck relevance do they have on a plane? Like, send the guy to the destination, or send the guy to where the prisoner's being taken from. Drugs being on the prison plane means nothing. And it's every time they announce DEA is involved, I'm like, why? Why are you here? Why is the most annoying, emotionally drived man in power that's able to make decisions part of the DEA? And why is he inserting himself so heavily in the situation? Like, not only does he single-handedly fuck everything up, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, just make him the FBI or anybody that isn't the DEA. I don't get it. Like, I don't care if any of those people might have had drugs on them. That's irrelevant. He's already in prison, dude. Like, you should be more worried about the mass sums that are being moved. Anyway, I don't run a prison. You know, I'm not in it for the money. So, it just... Yeah, the best part of the film, though, is really that execution. So you meet everybody, you're like, God, these guys suck. And you just see them trying shit. And you're like, you obviously know that something's going to happen. It's called Con Air. Like shit's going to happen. Like, everyone's kind of fucking around. And they all have, like, little bits that they're doing. And it looks like they're all doing their own thing. But then, everyone that's in the mega high security, which are in these cages on the corners of the room, they pull out fucking pins that they put in the calluses of their hands. And I'm like, whoa, like, that's such an amazing move. That's so fucking smart. I don't care who you are. That That's getting by. That's like, how do you... There's ways to check, right? If you know, like, oh, prisoners have been putting pins in their calluses for years, like, make sure you do a check and maybe rub your finger up and down on their palm a couple of times to make sure. But, like, a metal detector is not going to pick it up because you have handcuffs on. And they generally want your hands down and slightly, like, cuffed anyway. Like, they and if you're really able to dig it in there, which I wouldn't be able to mentally, but I don't have massive calluses on my hands, so that's another thing. But if you can get it to go subdermal and, like, push it under the skin completely so that there's not even a little bit of, like, the head poking out, then you're golden. There's nothing. So yeah, they inevitably escape and they take over the plane, and it's so cool. It's like, so they're picking the locks. What the fuck happens? One guy gets out. He tells the other guy to open it. See, this is the thing, is I've only technically watched this once, so I don't fully get it, but I got it. So they take over the plane. Danny Trejo tries to rape a woman, and the racist Nazi leader guy goes, "We don't rape women." Nick Cage smacks him and says, "You don't treat women like that," or whatever. And that's just kind of a looming threat, right? Is that there's a woman on the plane, and there's a woman rapist on the plane. Or, well, there's a raper of women on the plane. So, that's troublesome. At any moment, he can choose to break the rules and just, rape the woman. This is one of those things of like, why am I going so far into this? The plane gets taken over. The government eventually finds out after cahoodling, which, some good cahoodling. I'll give them that. I really liked... Like I said, the first half of the second act is amazing. It leads into probably the most harrowing scene, which is not part of that, which is Steve Buscemi. He's sold as like a child strangler, and sent in like Hannibal Lecter on drugs. Like, they really build him up. But then they reveal his face, and it's a young Steve Buscemi, so he's got a little bit of like a quirkiness to him, but his hair is feathered and soft. His shirt is tucked in. He's wearing light colors. He's got great posture. He's quiet. Like, he's lovely. But that he murdered and strangled children. I'm pretty sure they explicitly say he strangled them, which is just an extra bit of detail to make it a little bit more fucked. God, I'm 30 minutes in. I've talked about Cars and Con Air. Great podcasting. I love it. What the fuck happened? So the plane crashes eventually. They like run out of fuel or something. Oh, like, something gets stuck in the engine, maybe? I don't know. Something happens. They crash. They land in Carson City or something like that, and they're bebopping around on the ground now. They come to this town. Nicolas Cage is like, "Hey," to this old man. He's like, "Hey, stay under this car." The old man goes, "Yeah, it's easy for you to say. You don't have to fucking piss." And meanwhile, he's in the fucking desert. He could just, piss in the ground, soak it all up. But this is when the scariest scene happens. And it's only scary in implication. Because it ends up being the most lighthearted moment in the film, but because of the implication, it's extremely fucked. So, Steve Buscemi, known child strangler, comes across an itty-bitty little girl, having a tea party in a gross, grimy fucking pool. The town is disgusting. I don't know, like, is it like a Hills Have Eyes kind of situation where they're the result of like nuclear testing or something? I have no clue. But there's this child having a really grimy tea party in a cement pool, and Steve Buscemi just walks up and has the tea party with her and talks to her and sings with her and just like stares at her. And it's really, really icky. Spoiler alert. He doesn't actually kill the girl, but it's heavily implied. And you don't find out until like the very end. Maybe not the very end, but they make you hold your breath on it for a while. They go, this dude totally fucking killed this kid and then just came back like nothing happened. He's caressing this doll as if he like murdered and is savoring this child's life through the fucking doll. Like, it's gross. But then it ends badly. The action sequence once they got to Vegas was, I described it as under the top. It did not cap off the film very well, and then Nicolas Cage reuniting with his family felt more awkward than it did emotional, which wasn't great. It's an action movie. You can't be too mad at the motivation being pregnant wife. Especially when it comes to Wall. Yeah, the ending was bad, though. I still liked it. It was fine. I would totally rewatch it. It's a fast film. It's like, 90, 100 minutes, something like that. Actually, it's closer to 2 hours. It's 116 minutes. Next day, I figured keep with the momentum, and I put on Shanghai Knights. By keep the momentum, I meant films that won't offend my partner. So I put on Jackie Chan's post 9/11 biracial buddy cop western comedy, Shanghai Knights, a sequel to Shanghai Noon. A film I liked a decent amount. I thought it was funny. It was a clever, if not a little racist movie. But the racism was kind of acceptable at that time, because it kind of went both ways. Like, Americans were allowing themselves to be made fun of, along with like mutually white people and whatever. Shanghai Knights post 9/11 is very important to this conversation, because it becomes the same kind of comedy, but it's only projected at foreigners. There is no jokes towards Americans in this film that would bring to question, like, the same way you'd go, like, is that an okay joke to say to a Chinese person, or just in general, like Shanghai Knights. So the plot is, what is the plot? Oh yeah, Jackie Chan's father is fucking murdered by the Prince of England, and Jackie Chan needs to go to England and prove that this British man murdered his father, and is setting up a coup to overthrow his family and take the crown. So he would have both control over England and Hong Kong? Or was it China mainland? I think it's Hong Kong. I can never remember, honestly. It might be China. mainland. But and there's like, wasn't there like a no, that's a different Jackie Chan movie. I watched a lot of Jackie Chan over the last couple weeks. But Shanghai Knights, Jackie Chan is like, I gotta get wherever. He's going to London, I think. So he hits up Owen Wilson, who has all his money from the last film. And he's like, sorry, bro, I'm a male gigolo. I'm a male escort now, and I don't have your money anymore. I wrote a bunch of fantasy novels and used all your money to fund it. So we're moneyless. And then they go to London. And then the jokes start happening. Up until then, there were jokes, but they were all kind of personal to Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson. Although Owen Wilson does get a few China jokes in before they head out, naturally, because he's allowed to. He's also, he starts the film as a prostitute, and the film does not linger on that whatsoever. But I bet if it was Jackie Chan, they would have really harped on it for a bit. Anyway, so they get to London, and they immediately encounter the local gang, the Black Scorpions or something. Some itty-bitty child boy pickpockets them and robs Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson's in this, by the way. I don't know if I said that. Remember how I said his best role is him as an animated car? It still stands true, including this film, Shanghai Knights. Although one of his better films, I will say. I like his Shanghai Knights, especially Shanghai Noon, because that's where he gets buried up to his neck in sand and is put to death, and he somehow escapes using chopsticks, which is just funny. Shanghai Knights. So the thing is, it's not a horrible film. My main things are really that it's a film that was made right after 9/11, and you can tell. The comedy is there, the racism towards foreigners is there, the denial of American anything is there, because they go to London to make fun of British people. They go there, and Owen Wilson, I'm pretty sure, drops a "we won the war" line on them. Just like fucking, like, straight out of an Xbox game chat. Just like talking shit to British people. And they jib jab around, they do some flips, they have some decent set pieces. I like the action. The action is comical. And Jackie Chan is good at that kind of stuff. The less you let him do of that stuff, the less good the movie is. So it's good that they allowed their little friend to, perform good stunts. I'm pretty sure he still got credited as the lead stunt guy. I'm probably wrong about that, but he does get that credit on a lot of films. My biggest thing about this, though, alright, and it's the last line of the film. It doesn't necessarily spoil anything. It's a happy ending. I guess that spoils something, for whatever that's worth, but the last conversation that happens in this film is Owen Wilson saying to Jackie Chan, which, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it at another point, but Jackie Chan's character name is Chong Wang, and it's supposed to sound like John Wayne. And there's always the joke of, like, the way Owen Wilson says his name is kind of like John. And they, at least in the first movie, they made a lot of John Wayne jokes, but here they kind of make John Wayne in the movie joke, and they're like, John Wayne in the pictures. What a silly name, or something like that. But he turns over to Jackie Chan and goes like, "Hey, Chan, you know, over in California, they're having these little motion pictures, and I hear language isn't an issue because they're all silent." And he's just doing the spiel of just kind of like inserting where they are in history. Which is right at the start of movies. Except Owen Wilson is completely wrong there. Because the film takes place about 10 years before California would have started developing their film industry. And he's actually talking about New Jersey. Which I'm not one to enjoy being from New Jersey, but I do appreciate the inclusion of New Jersey in history. I like the context of like all of Fort Lee and all that shit. And it just goes to show that Owen Wilson fucking sucks, because he read a line and went, wait a minute. He didn't go, wait a minute, actually. He did not have that moment of clarity where he went, I actually know the true history of cinema. But nope. And also, technically, before that, if we really want to get into it, because, New Jersey is technically where it started, but the Alice Guy Blanc, I think her name is, I think that's how you pronounce it, the first woman director and wife of the first human director ever, were both French, and I'm pretty sure made films in France prior to that. So, there's just a lot of ignorance in that final line. And I know it's because to kids it's probably easier to say, yeah, Hollywood. That's what this is. It's a Hollywood reference. But, it's a disgrace to the end of the film. It's not surprising that Owen Wilson was the one that says it. It's a shame that I have to throw that hate onto his pile, because I don't think it's his fault for saying it, but it is his fault for not catching it. And I'll leave it at that, I guess. Moving on, I'm going to talk about 4 films today, I guess, because I think I have to go in 15 minutes, so maybe even 3. Don't Torture a Duckling. Fulci's first big hit or something. So I don't know much about the film. I watched it because I heard many people say and see on Letterboxd that it is one of his highest rated films. It has such a weird name. It's right in that time where people say he's amazing. But I think what this film tells me is that either Giallo or Fulci specifically does not fully resonate with me. Because I watched Don't Torture a Duckling and I thought it was pretty cool. I think what I read from the reviews of my friends on Letterboxd is that it's more or less the reaction he got from the film of where the power of the film comes from than it is about the film itself. But I don't really know what that is. It's a film about child murder, and I think that was one of those big things. Was oh my god, a film about child murder, where the film is literally. I think there's only one non-child corpse in this film, and there's at least 4 to 6 dead bodies shown. It's definitely a pretty fucked up concept. And right, I do remember what's going on here. So it opens with this voodoo lady showing up. It doesn't actually open with it, but early in the film, it becomes known to us that like this woman who we've seen doing weird voodoo, like burying wax sculpture, wax dolls into dirt, and like stabbing them with pins and stuff, like doing very that kind of stuff. And then you find out that she's new in town and that the child murders started around the time that she showed up. Meanwhile, there's this innocent-looking priest man, frolicking around, being priestly and selling God or whatever. That is a fire truck. Oh well. Not mine. So, there's dead children happening, there's a priest, and there's a witch lady. Everyone starts accusing the witch lady. And she takes responsibility of it. She does. She admits, she's like, yeah, I put a death ritual on these children. Because they were, meanies. They were making fun of me, or they were sitting on my tree or whatever. So I cursed them. I buried a doll and I poked it with needles, and that's what I did. And that doesn't mean anything. I think they still try and push her as guilty because they're like, we have this person, they're admitting it, like, might as well. But I already know that. Wow, I forgot what I was talking about. So I almost started talking about a meal being finished. Children dying. You're right. So they don't want to let her go, I don't think, because she is taking responsibility for the murders, but they don't have any actual proof. They just have her saying that she's done rituals in a cave. Then at some point, it's mentioned that magic and religion work hand in hand. And I think that's where the film is both... It both becomes really obvious and, I guess, kind of interesting. This is, I think, where the film loses me. No. The thing is, the film had me the entire time. It's an interesting concept. But I think... I think figuring it out before the film tells you takes something away, maybe? I don't know if that's true, actually, because I don't have a lot of experience with giallo films, right? So, like, I have... Like, Opera is currently my favorite giallo film. And in that film, they give you the killer almost immediately. At least I think they do. I knew he was the killer almost immediately, but maybe I just watch movies better than the average... Like, no way. No way I picked up on something that majority of people wouldn't have. There's no way. I'm not that perceptive. Especially on a first-time watch. Like, that's just not a thing. But that's explained as magic and religion, are spoken through or whatever. And then... Sorry, I'm kind of bluntly going to spoil this film because, I don't really have much to say about it. I just kind of want to run through it because it's there. And it's a shame, too, because, like, I like it for the most part. I think it's made really well. The effects were affecting, But then... What happens? What am I talking about? Turns out that the homely priest man that's kind of like the happy face of the town has actually been doing the murders the entire time. But guess what? He's been doing it under the pretense that God has been telling him to. Or that something spiritual is pushing him to do it. And he's basically saying that his religion calls for it. And I think... the connection that I made and maybe it's supposed to be a little bit more hard-hitting, or maybe there's more to it that I'm missing. But I think that woman doing death spells on the children sent a message to heaven or wherever the fuck to relay that message down to the priest to kill those children. And that's why the woman feels responsible for the children's death, even though she's on surface level nowhere near guilty. And B, I don't remember what that statement was going to be built out as, but the priest is receiving the messages to kill these children. But it's actually a result of the death ritual that was performed by the witch. So, although this man's religion, I guess they don't in this film deny it, but that's how I got it, right? Is that her performing the death ritual towards the children's voodoo dolls results in the man who takes messages from God to do missions as bad as murdering children. He would do his will. And I'm pretty sure that's where the film is. I'm not sure if I figured it out too soon. It almost says, like, basically the second they said it, I kind of figured it out. I don't know. I'm also afraid to say that maybe it's like post-90s whodunits are so convolutedly complex that one from 1972 just isn't complex enough to work. I don't think that's true, but that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. But Don't Torture a Duckling, it's made really well. I see why Fulci fans like it, but I didn't come out of it going like, holy shit. I think everybody who's given it 5 stars that I follow has it tagged with, I watched this with the Joe Bob commentary. And maybe that's what I need. Maybe I need that man to tell me about the film so that I can appreciate it. We'll see. I'm going to talk about one more film. It's another Jackie Chan film. It's called Skiptrace from 2016. This one was... Alright, let's have a couple of pretenses with this, right? Skiptrace from 2016. I found it strictly because I was scrolling through the search of Jackie Chan. So I'm like, cool, a Jackie Chan film from 2016. And that, on the poster, looks like Jet Li. I went, this has to be fucking awesome. Jet Li and Jackie Chan in a film together, doing the most badass shit possible. No, that man on the cover was Johnny Knoxville. Which is just fucking weird. What, like, Johnny Knoxville with Jackie Chan? Who fucking thought of that? After watching it, I think this might have been a Rush Hour sequel or reboot that they couldn't get Chris Tucker back for. And they lucked out and just found another person who kind of does the same thing that Chris Tucker does in those movies, just a little bit different. Less black jokes and more sleazy white man jokes, I guess. I don't really know. But yeah, it's Johnny Knoxville and Jackie Chan in a 2016 comedy. Action comedy. Here again is another film. I don't know if I necessarily remember. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville does not look like Johnny Knoxville on that poster, though. I can admit that Jet Li is a little bit of a stretch, but to say that's Johnny Knoxville is even bigger of a stretch. Yeah, it's a Rush Hour film, so it's got Jackie Chan doing undercover cop shit. it has him running into a situation where he goes... Except the other thing is that Johnny Knoxville is not playing a cop. He's playing a scumbag who owes a lot of money but happens to know about the thing that Jackie Chan is investigating, so they team up. Except Johnny Knoxville is like handcuffed for like a majority of the film. So all of his action sequences are him struggling to figure out how to live handcuffed. He does a couple good attacks and stuff. It's fun. I don't think it's bad in any way. The Johnny Knoxville stuff, at least. I think the film isn't great. I liked it, but it is not good. Jackie Chan is old. If anything from the bloopers told me something, is that he got hurt on set, because there's a scene where he's limping away from a stunt, and you don't ever see him limping in bloopers. So I think he got hurt at some point, and I think either to avoid or because he was afraid of that actually happening, they minimized his stunts and made all of his action kind of like close quarter, quick cut. Like, you can probably edit it in your, like, from a camcorder kind of thing. And that was really a shame. Like, it had some good stuff, nothing great. Johnny Knoxville, I think, was actually my favorite part of this film. I don't want to say it's worth a watch, but I did enjoy it, like I said. It kind of rehashes plot points from Without a Paddle. Like once it sets up its rush hourness, which is Jackie Chan meets a guy and they team up to take down some big international villain, probably Chinese-based. And then it's Jackie Chan and Johnny Knoxville just kind of like in situations. Many of which are situations that happened in Without a Paddle. And there was like a Titanic sequence too that I laughed. To be honest, these references made the film better for me, because I thought, like, if the film is going to be bad, it might as well do some stuff to it that makes it less bad. And being a 2016 comedy, it was going to be bad anyway, so I'm glad that the, like, Without a Paddle stuff happened, and that I could have been like, oh, this is exactly Without a Paddle, because it got me through the middle part of the movie, where nothing really happens. That's Skiptrace. It's a decently funny film. I liked it, but it's just not good. I liked it for the things I was happy were there, like Johnny Knoxville, because he doesn't do many things, but I do like his piece of shittiness. I do plan on watching his John Waters film soon, A Dirty Shame or whatever it's called. And yeah, I mean, it's fine, but I'm just gonna stop there. That was only 5 films, which is a shame. I didn't get that far in, but it's also 30 minutes shorter than I generally do. But not everything can be perfect. And just in case I can't get something together for the next episode, I have the entire weekend to work through for the next episode. That was Monday through Friday, by the way. What a weird set of films to watch on a work week. anythingbutted@gmail.com if you want to contact me for whatever reason. I do exist. I check for some reason. I know nothing's going to come from it, but I found myself checking today. I'm like, is there anything other than an RSS email in here? Nope. I cleared out the inbox, though, so I'll be able to stay on top of it. So, anythingbutted@gmail.com. And other than that, I mean, this is just another episode, I guess. we'll find our ground sooner or later. Maybe I'll talk about this Tina Fey book I'm reading at some point. I almost talked about it today, but we'll see. In the meantime, goodbye.